All right. Welcome, everybody.
Hey.
This is Nerd Cave. We're going through all of E3. We just finished watching the Microsoft conference. It has been an eventful hour and a half.
Yeah. Not 2 hours, apparently.
Lied, betrayed.
From the conference to getting a mixer to crushing a cord that we can't use the camera to all these wonderful things.
Welcome to the Nerd Cave.
Yeah.
And technical difficulties abound.
In the name of Jesus, I don't know what happens anymore. So there was a ton of stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What were overall thoughts of the conference?
Lackluster.
A lot of good, a lot of bad.
It's one of those. It's like I think that it was one of those like. I think that in their mind, they're like we're showing all this stuff. It's so cool.
Mm-hmm.
Like we're really we're taking advantage of it. But like I think we said I mean, we can get into it later, but like they didn't really show that. Zach, you said like they didn't really show all that much gameplay overall.
Yeah, that was weird, actually.
And granted, some of the games aren't coming out for till next year. And it's like I understand, but yeah, it was one of those. I felt a little like it was a little underwhelming. I feel.
Yeah.
Yeah, like they showed a ton of games, not a ton of gameplay, and even the stuff that's coming out soon. And I know I'm jumping the gun a little bit here, but Gears 5 coming out in September, they didn't show any actual in-game play.
Yeah.
Like that says a lot to me.
Yeah.
As a consumer and a gamer, because Gears 4, like they put on a whole show about it, and I know they have Gamescom in the next like month or two, and they'll show more there. But
and they have stuff leading up to Gears 5 launch
and
too.
They said like they were gonna have. I mean, yeah, we can talk more about it later. But there was the 3 WWE people who were gonna play the game there.
Yeah, later today. Yeah.
Right. But I mean, yeah, we can talk more about that later.
Yeah, it just that kind of stuff right there just shows me that a lot of this is just proof of concept at the moment.
Yeah.
And they had the ball in their court. They could have, went for an easy slam dunk, but they decided to go for threes the whole time, and you live by the three, die by the
They
three.
went
Yes, you
Houston
do.
Rockets threes.
Yeah.
Give it to James Harden and jack it up.
Yeah. So let's go from the top, and then we'll go all the way down.
So they started off, which everyone was expecting to get a big chunk of Outer Worlds. Surprisingly enough, it's not August like I predicted. Lost me a point.
Right?
It's October 25th, which, interesting enough, same day as Call of Duty.
Call of Duty's losing steam, though.
Yeah, I mean,
But just to have two big games come out, it's like Tomb Raider and Fallout again.
Well, I remember last year. No, it wasn't last year. I think it was 2017. It was like all within. It was within October. There was like 6 huge games that came out all within like a week of each other.
Probably.
Yeah. It was quite a big bit, all at the same time, and that's happened multiple times in the recent years, where there'll be like 2 games on the same, and then the next week will be another 2 games,
Right.
and it really fractures the marketplace.
Right.
But I think they'll do well on it.
What were y'all's thoughts on seeing?
It's ugly.
Yeah, I mean, how about this? It's not the prettiest thing in the world, but I didn't think it looked bad. I mean,
No, like we were saying, it's the Obsidian people. Like it's gonna look that particular style. I just think that it was one of those you can keep the style while also improving the the polish of it. And I feel like that polish wasn't really there. That's just me, but
I'm gonna take a pin to this balloon and go pop. Like that's just an excuse.
yeah.
Like their style, that's an excuse because that's not style. That's not
that's
not
fair.
a stylistic thing. That's not focusing on the whole package. I hope they do a much better job than what Fallout has been doing. In the
mainly
last
76.
yeah. Well, even Fallout 4, like it still looked like Fallout 3. Like it was not that great looking of a game. And graphics is not everything, and I'm definitely a proponent of that. But if you're going to say it's a style, like Cell Shaded as a style, Overcooked has a style, like there's a difference between art style and your graphics just looking like butt.
it's one of those when if you want to keep the feel of maybe certain animations, certain tics the characters might have, that's fine. But whenever I think we all said it was like it's not that the graphics were bad, but it looks like something that should have come out a year or so ago.
Yeah, it definitely feels like that. I think it has some legs to it. I think it'll be interesting. Curious to see what they actually like do with it though.
Yeah.
I think what'll help is the fact of what 76 did, like coming out of the gate, and then by saying the original innovators of Fallout coming out to make this game, I think will help it because it's like, all right, Bethesda fumbled the ball with 76, so let's trust the people who originally created Fallout. Let's give them a shot with this game.
Yeah, and Obsidian has had good and it's had bad. KOTOR 2 had its definitely like pluses and minuses, but I know Fallout New Vegas was something that a lot of people really, really enjoyed.
I love New Vegas. Yeah, like New Vegas was the first one I played, and like I adored it. It's great.
Yeah.
Obsidian also did work on the first South Park game too, right?
They did?
I'm not 100%.
I think it was when THQ did all that thing, and I know Ubisoft picked it up. I think Obsidian was working on it at the time.
I have no idea.
Anyway,
I'm fact checking.
so the next game we saw was Ninja Theories, which that was leaked a few days ago. It's called Bleeding Edge. It's an online melee. It's a melee 4v4. Kind of has that Overwatch feel to it, but more melee weapons than it is like a shooter game.
Yeah.
They have a technical alpha that's going to start on the 27th, so you can get that in and try and test that out if you want to get a feel for that game. But I actually kind of like it because I'm not a big Overwatch, but I like Overwatch a lot.
Yeah.
So I'll give this a shot. It's a lot. I mean, it's kind of almost like a better version of Drawn to Death.
Yeah.
Oh, just to step in, Obsidian did work on Stick of Truth.
That's right. I still got something up here in the old noggin.
Not much, but something.
Dang.
Cobweb is mostly.
Hey, we're tied, sir. So I don't want to hear.
Yeah, nobody got any points.
Hey, I was the closest.
Yeah.
You were off by 10.
He predicted 70 games. They announced 60, and I was like, oh well, 10 short, but no points for you.
No.
Not for you.
So the next one was, and we were expecting this, Ori and the Will of the Wisps. Got pushed back because they were saying 2019. They just put 2019 on it last year, but then it's coming out February 11th, 2020. So early next year.
Yeah, close to my birthday.
Showed more gameplay. Showed the little giant spider. Really cool. Again, if you played the first game, you're gonna love the second game.
Yeah.
If you didn't play it, you can try it out because again, it's going to be something. A lot of these exclusives are going to come to Game Pass, so it's something. If you have a Game Pass and you want to get, if you're an adopter of that, you're going to want to give it a try anyway.
Yeah.
Yeah, they showed 34 games coming to Game Pass.
Yeah.
During the conference.
Yeah.
Which is pretty big. They're definitely pushing it, which I think.
You're like, please use it.
The next one they showed was Minecraft Dungeons, a little expansion for it. It's going to be out spring 2020. Pretty much looks like if Diablo was Minecraft a little bit.
Yeah, it's one of those. Yeah, like it's it's nothing super special, but like I really like Minecraft. Just playing it, like it's always kind of been like a nice, like calming, like mindless sort of game.
Right.
And so it looks fun, and like I know some of my friends are like they're getting back into Minecraft or they're picking up Minecraft for the first time, and so I think that'll be cool for us to do.
So I was, of course, getting some food
Yeah.
on a plate because it was Minecraft. Now, is it like multiplayer where you go through a dungeon, which I know Minecraft's already multiplayer, but
yeah, it's like they said it's 4-player local or just like online player.
See, that might be the only way that someone gets me to play Minecraft. I'm not saying that I will, but
no, like it looks fun and like it looks interesting. It's just like a nice little addition.
So the next one, and I had it on my predictions list, should have kept it, took it off, was they were going to show, again, with Sony not being there, a lot of their third-party partnerships would show up at Microsoft. Star Wars Jedi Fallen Order, which we were, getting that live stream yesterday of gameplay and all that. You wouldn't think you would see more of it at another conference. But, Microsoft does like to show at least one thing EA at one of their conferences. It was just, after Anthem, we would think, they'd be like, no, just stay in the background. But, November 15th, it was more of like a gameplay trailer. Character models looked a little bland to me, but I mean, the overall gameplay looks phenomenal. Yeah,
my big thing with the character models, like we were saying, like they didn't look finished, is it looks more like it's like the base of the face mapping is there, but what really got me was like the animations around the mouths. Yeah. They looked very like... the only way I can describe it is like thin.
Yeah.
So yeah, hopefully they'll. I mean, I'm sure they will. Polish all that out, make it look nice and smooth.
Yeah, my biggest thing for Jedi Fallen Order, and we kind of talked about this last night, is watching the EA play kind of demo of it and everything. The combat seems very stale after just watching 13 minutes. I'm like, okay, they're about to do the same thing.
Yeah.
And then they would do the same little Kylo Ren, like, stop everything. And it's like, okay, all right, that's cool. And it just felt like there has to be more.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I know we both talked, and I know several people have said this. They were really hoping for something more like Force Unleashed.
Yep.
Kind of deal, but it's definitely not that.
Mm-mm.
It has, like, little twinges,
Yeah.
but, like, I wasn't hoping
The
for,
feel is there.
Yeah. I was hoping that it wasn't, like, cheesy Force Unleashed. Did you ever play those?
I did not.
They're really, really fun, but the second one got cheesy. But my biggest thing is, if it is an RPG, like, they better have some part of it where you develop new combat tactics and skills.
Right.
Yeah.
Not just force powers, but, like, actual combat tactics.
Because I'm wondering if the Jedi that you're playing as in this game is sort of like a new Jedi, but then the Order 66 happened, and then he's just left to, like, learn for himself.
Yeah, that's the story. Is like he was a Padawan.
Oh, okay.
Oh, okay. Interesting.
So that's why I'm hoping that, like, as you go through the story, it actually develops the skills and everything. I like that they brought Forrest Whitaker's character back.
Me too.
And, you know, just like the little thing that they showed at Xbox gave a little bit more of the story side of things.
Mm-hmm.
Also, I liked the droid. That was the biggest takeaway. I was like, the droid, I like him.
So, but they've got till November 15th to hash out all these little minor issues. So
yeah, just call me up, man. I'll fix your game.
So, but I do trust, I do trust that it is Respawn. Respawn is at least good at storytelling.
Yeah. Well, I'm not saying that I can fix it technically. I can tell them what sucks.
Oh, I see.
Yeah, like, you're working with EA.
Now
There's
this
your first problem.
Now this next game, you and I were going back and forth saying what it is and what it isn't. Allie got it right at the last second.
I was like, hey, that's that. And then there's like the title popped up and I was like, ah.
Yep. So we were seeing this new horror game pop up, and then your immediate reaction was Alan Wake. And I'm like, no.
Awesome.
And then the camera popped up and I'm like, oh, this is Outlast 3.
Yeah.
But then it had gone on weird turns, and it was like third person, like the camera kept going down. And Allie's like,
what happened
to Blair Witch?
Yeah, I was like super like, and I think it's like I kind of got that feel, and then once they showed him like filming some guy like standing in the corner, I was like, what is this, Blair Witch? And then it started zooming out and it showed the symbols like, this is Blair Witch, and then the title popped up and I was like,
yep,
awesome.
So it's Blair Witch, the horror game. So this is intriguing. You know, I'm kind of a sucker for horror games. I know you were once upon a time too. So
plus they have a dog companion, and those are always good.
So they die.
I wonder how big this will be, though, because unless this has been in production for years already, it's out soon. Like, it's out August 30th. Like, that's right around the corner.
Hopefully, they've been working on it, not just like kind of like, yeet.
Yeah. It did look polished, though, I will say, because it was like in-engine footage that they showed, and it did look really polished. Yeah. So
I'd be curious to test it out. Like, I'm actually really intrigued by it.
If it does like the psychological horror like Evil Within does, then because I do like Evil Within, I think I'll be okay with the game.
Yeah.
Next, they showed what everyone was expecting, because everyone's been excited for this game, Cyberpunk 2077. Big thing is it's out April 16th, 2020, which is should have went with that prediction because I said spring 2020. Dang it. Biggest thing though, and they pretty much told Metal Gear is like, hey Kojima, we're not the only one that can have guest stars in our game. They're having Keanu Reeves guest star in their game.
Yeah. And then
he came out on stage.
Yeah, he came out on stage and was like, I need to get through my lines, please.
I know.
And then the guy who was like, no, you're breathtaking.
No, you're all breathtaking. But
good moment.
It was more of a CG section. It wasn't really gameplay, but it kind of like hinted at what you can expect, with augmentation and all that kind of stuff. Sort of like Deus Ex. What was your thoughts on like the next spiel? Because if rumor is also going to be that they're going to show a new gameplay snippet, but it's going to be behind closed doors. Yeah. So,
it looks good. I'm not a fan of all the cursing, but it is what it is. But the graphics, like if that's in game, man. That is some awesome
There were
stuff.
definitely some instances where you could tell it was definitely in game, given by like the motions, some of the animations.
Yeah,
and it looked really good for being in game. I liked the designs they have for all the characters, and just like the layout of everything. Yeah, it was really interesting to look at.
Yeah, and just a little bit of storytelling that we got through the trailer, I'm intrigued.
Yeah, I am too.
Well, and I mean, it's CD Projekt Red. They have a lot of great attention to detail with the storytelling, with the character designs, because each character that's going to play a big part. Like we see that in Witcher. Like how many iconic characters or at least notable characters can you name from that game? It's at least almost on two hands. So, and that's
I never played it.
But
anyway,
anyway,
like 3 hours and then I stop. Every time I pick it up, it's like 3 hours and that's it.
Yeah.
The next one we saw is more of like an indie type game, Spiritfarer. Remind me, one of y'all are gonna have to remind me because I forget.
It's the one where it's like it shows this little like I don't know wizard kid like they had like the star wizard hat on. I was really intrigued by it. I really liked the art style for it. I thought it was just very like nice and simplistic. It seems like a really pleasant game.
Yeah.
And I definitely want to try it out.
Yeah, and you're ferrying souls.
Yeah, because it's like learn to say.
That's what it is.
Yeah, it's like learn to say goodbye. So it's like it looks like you like pick up these like I guess animal companions if you want to call that, and you get to like like improve and build this ship that you have that you're like ferrying people or these animals from like one place to another. And so it's like you have to get them to their destination so their soul can be at rest.
Right.
It just seems like a nice little like adventure kind of game.
Yeah. Curious what the story is really going to like.
Yeah.
Yeah, like always like there's probably going to be this one like larger like overarching story but I really like the design of like all the different characters.
Probably it's something like you're trapped and you have to collect all these spirits in order to get yourself out of wherever you're trapped into.
Yeah.
Sort of
Davy
like,
Jones.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What Jack Sparrow was supposed to do.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then he was like conned.
The next one we saw was of course everyone was expecting this one too, Battletoads. They actually showed gameplay of it. I mean, how about this? For a game that's been dormant for how many years, it was I guess nice to see that them want to come back to that franchise. But the style is a lot to be desired, at least for me. It's like 80s game, but
yeah, I was saying like it looked like it was like I was watching like a commercial for a kid's game on like Nickelodeon or Cartoon Network or something.
Looks like one of those old school cartoon games you see in Chuck E. Cheese or like retro or those arcade games. Excuse me.
Yeah, it's a very specific audience for a very specific game.
Yeah,
and I don't think E3 was the time to show it.
No.
But that's neither here nor there.
But I hope that the people who are fans of it, that they were happy with what they got. My bad.
The next one we got was RPG Time: The Legend of Wright. It's gonna be out 2020 sometime. It's like one of those little. It was like one of those like looked like Drawn to Death, but it was more like paper mache and like paper crafting type thing. They were trying to tell a story. We don't know if that's actual gameplay or if that was just a little trailer montage they went with. Music reminded me a lot of Dragon Quest. Like I got Dragon Quest vibes from the music because and some of the enemy types that they showed toward the end of the trailer reminded me, like, all right, that looks like the ogre from Dragon Quest. And it's like, all right, so is this supposed to be in the same universe as Dragon Quest, just a different thing? I mean, it is an RPG game. I don't know. It's a different aesthetic. Hopefully, flipping the pages for the papercraft is. I assume that is the trailer. And that's not the gameplay, but I would like to see what the actual gameplay would look like.
Yeah, but part of me thinks that at least part of that had to have been a little bit of gameplay because like looking at like the layout, like the board that they had around it, like there were parts where it's like like different like aspects, like this is where you are in the map, and it shows like your life gauge. And yeah, granted that could have just been fancy stuff for the trailer, but I certainly hope that's the case because like we were saying, it was just way too busy on the border. I was like, that absolutely cannot be what that actually ends up being.
I'm gonna make a post prediction right now.
Okay.
That is the actual screen.
I think it is
100%. And if I get it right and it comes out like that, I automatically win this year if I lose.
Yeah. Okay. Sure. We'll go with that.
We'll say you win Microsoft.
Okay.
We'll go with that.
I get
sure.
the point.
Yeah.
The next one we saw an indie montage. Water is wet. Go figure. All the stuff that you saw in the montage though was coming when it comes out day one on Game Pass.
Yeah.
The two that stood out. There was one that was right before, but Killer Queen Black. That was the big thing for Switch last year at their conference. That's coming to Xbox One. There was another one before that I was like, ooh, and I can't remember what it is because it was like a big indie montage.
Yeah,
but
I remember there being like a few that like really stood out that seemed really interesting, but I could not for the life of me tell you which ones they were.
Right.
Because it's a montage.
Yep.
Yeah. Next, right after that, they made their Game Pass update announcements. Today on Game Pass, you're getting Batman Arkham Knight, Hollow Knight, which is a great game, Borderlands Handsome Collection, and the big one was Metro Exodus, which that's huge because that game is not even 4 months old yet.
Yeah. What I saw from Xbox at this point, and it's like they're making very smart business moves.
Right.
Especially like pushing the Game Pass. Game Pass has gotten much better since it launched and everything.
Yeah.
And having all of these games coming to Game Pass, especially even like the studio games as well.
Yeah, like I mean, the huge announcement last year was a lot of our studio games that are coming out now in the future. Like when they said Gears 5 was coming to Game Pass, I was like, what?
Yeah, I was shocked by that, but and I know you're about to get to this, but the Game Pass Ultimate, that they're not only doing just Xbox, but they're also doing PC,
right,
and Xbox Live with those two things are now going to be called Xbox Ultimate, $14.99 a month.
Yep.
And that is huge because they're pushing this whole thing of getting everybody on the same page.
Yep.
Right.
Everybody, everywhere, anytime.
Mm-hmm.
Everybody, anywhere, anytime.
Well, that's what the Switch does, anywhere, anytime type of deal. So
yeah, and I think it's good. And with the PC side of things, they're getting 100 curated games just for PC, and Halo Reach being on there is pretty cool as well.
Yeah. So yeah, and then Game Pass for PC, it's open beta. It launches today. That's big, and they announced some PC Game Pass exclusives like Football Manager 2019. That's, I know.
Woo and Impeturo Boo Boo. Something about wrong.
Anyway, then of course, like Zach stated, Game Pass Ultimate, combines Game Pass for console and PC and Xbox Live Gold for $15 a month, and you can join today for only $1.
$1 dinero.
So $1 here.
Uno dinero.
So
$1 dinero.
Of course, they love that. Anytime they have a big sale going on, it's like, oh, you can do Xbox Live Gold or Xbox Game Pass for $1 for a month. So it's only fitting that during E3 they have this going on.
Right.
It's like a drug dealer.
Yeah.
Like they want to get you hooked, so they keep coming, get you coming back. So if they can get like, oh yeah, man, you can get this.
Not to get super off topic, but I mean like Blizzard with Overwatch, like they do the same thing. Like they'll do like a free weekend to get people hooked, so that way they'll come back and pay that subscription, or they'll actually buy the game.
Yep.
Yeah.
And then the next one,
Xbox is a drug dealer.
Then the next one, don't know if this deserved a spot on the stage for their game, but I mean it's cool that they're pushing this type of game. I guess showed Flight Simulator, which you called that one.
Yeah.
I mean, cool.
Like it started like after they did the Game Pass thing, they showed several like PC oriented titles and everything.
Oh,
so
okay.
yeah, I mean that's a good point too to bring up. But I mean it's like simulator game, cool. I mean I guess proof of concept type of thing, or just to show is like, hey, we're invested in PC too.
Yeah, and like Flight Simulator has been such a huge game on the PC for years.
Right.
Like I'm talking about 10 plus years, even more than that.
Well, I mean, you see how the simulator games, because they have Train Sim World, they have Farming Simulators, huge. But
yeah, and then the Age of Empires 2.
Yep, that was a big one too. Definitive Edition, coming out this fall, and it'll have an all new campaign.
Yep, and it's in 4K, so really bad graphics in 4K. Whatever. But I think it's cool because Age of Empires 2 is like one of the biggest turn-based, not turn-based. One of those big games that do those things.
No, I feel like everybody knows exactly what you mean.
Like the war games. I love playing them. Like Rome Total War, that's my jam. Like, that game is like 10 years old, but it's still awesome. Anyway, let's keep rolling.
The next one, and this one I called it when I saw it too. Wasteland 3, which we're all in exile. That's the one that does that. They acquired them back in November. So we saw that. They're talking about Colorado Springs. Thank you. As the big setting for it. They're trying to. I think they tried to create like the Borderlands vibe with the zaniness and the craziness.
That. And then
and
like,
the guns.
Yeah. They was trying to make it like. I don't want to say lighthearted is the right term, but just like a little more like comical.
Right. Because Wasteland has always kind of been like a serious game, so this one they're trying to like I guess break the mold for this one.
Yeah.
Okay. Then this was arguably one of my biggest moments of the conference. They come out and show announce a new game studio acquisition. Oh, yeah. Don't know what it is, then they say it's Double Fine, and I'm just like,
that's
what?
Huge.
So. And they had Tim Schafer come out there, and they showed off Psychonauts 2 trailer. So, thoughts on that one?
The acquisition's huge. Like I didn't think Tim Schafer would
sell or agree to
join up with anybody, because it seems like he's really enjoyed like being his own man.
Well, and you see at the last couple like PlayStation centric things, like at PSX, see they always come out and have him show something. You know.
So it's like Ali said, you put enough zeros, eventually somebody will.
Anybody will cave once you get enough zeros in there.
Psychonauts 2, like if it's exclusive, that's awesome.
Yeah.
You know.
I don't think so, only because they already announced it and it's coming to PlayStation. So I think it's one of those like Outer Worlds where it'll be like, hey, our focus is gonna be on this console and all the marketing is gonna be pushed on this console, but we'll play fair and put it out on this console.
Do you think it could also have like a limited exclusive, like for a limited time, be exclusive to Xbox?
Maybe. They didn't really say, and I mean they didn't even put a date on the game, so we'll have to see, I guess, next year sometime.
I think after Psychonauts 2, they will be exclusive.
Okay,
I could see that. Yeah.
Yeah, I think once everyone that gets these games, like these new studios that they bought, were already working on multi-platform games, is out, and it's like, all right, now you belong to us.
You are mine.
I would love to see Brutal Legend 2.
That's the one with Jack Black, right? Yeah.
I would love to see that.
That'd be interesting.
That'd be cool. Because did Double Fine do that?
Yeah. Tim Schafer did it.
Oh, okay.
I don't know if Double Fine did it, but I know Tim Schafer did it.
Got you.
But what's interesting, like I thought it was hilarious where he came out. He's like, "Yeah, we can do
Halo. We can do Forza or whatever you want us to do.
We can do Excel."
It's like, no, we just want you to make great games, Tim.
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh, what was his name? Something Butts.
Dave Booty.
Matt Booty.
Oh, Matt Booty. That's what it was.
Booty.
But then the next one is we see the Galaxy Far, Far Away logo. It's like another Star Wars game. But it's Lego Star Wars, the Skywalker Saga. It's going to have all 9 films included. So, they already did the complete collection a few years back with the first 6. So now that episode 9 it's kind of weird, though, that they did one that just was focused on episode 7. And then they didn't do one for episode 8. And they're just going to include. I mean, it's cool that they're both, the episode 8 and 9 are still coming, but it's weird.
Is it really that surprising that they didn't do one to focus on?
I mean, you're right. But
no, I know. I totally get what you mean. And Double Fine did do Brutal Legend.
Boom.
Okay. But
over here doubting my knowledge.
I didn't. Okay, sure. Anyway,
did they do it?
But that's out 2020 Skywalker Saga. So
it's gonna be lit, fam.
Yeah, I mean that was definitely with the fact that it was like, okay, like they're obviously like going to be including episode 9. Obviously, this will not be coming out to 2020 because.
Well, I wonder. I mean, it's going to be Skywalker Saga, but I wonder if as extra DLC they'll include like, oh, here's Rogue One, and also here's Solo, a Star Wars really story.
Cool.
Like extra content.
I could see it.
Maybe.
So we'll see.
Maybe.
Then they showed, and I called this one too when they showed it. But of course, they always have to have something Japanese centric there. They had several Japanese, but the first one that we saw was Dragon Ball Z. It was like a Project Dragon Ball Z RPG. But they actually called it Dragon Ball Z Kakarot. Pretty much same Dragon Ball Z story. It only looked through the Frieza saga, right? Because I didn't see the androids. But it's out 2020. Pretty game, looks very flashy, colorful. So
it looked combat wise very different from some of the ones that we've gotten recently, and even compared to Budokai back in the day.
Right.
Which Budokai
it had that awesome Dragon Ball Fighters style look to it a little bit. So
I'm curious to see how it's an RPG though.
Yeah, I'm sure it's going to be how you build up Goku or Kakarot or whatever.
We've already got that game.
I know.
Lord God.
I know.
We've already gotten that one so many times.
They just re-release it and they make some of the graphics look a little bit better and then just put a different name on it and they're like, hey guys, that's a different game. And you play it, it's the exact same game.
Like I know Xenoverse, was like, make your own character, but that
it was RPG
lobby music. My lord, in the second one
was it like elevator like do 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 do.
No, it wasn't even that catchy. It was like the same thing over again, and every time you went to the lobby they only had one song. And it was like, my lord, and you had to stay, like you had to go all over the place, and it's like it won't ever end, and it was like
I'm uncomfortable.
I need a safe space.
The next one was another like indie type game. It was that game 12 Minutes, interactive thriller. It's a top down, pretty much it shows up very like rainy day, and it's like the wife like trying to surprise him, and he's already like ruined the surprise. Like, yeah, you're pregnant, aren't you? And she's like, how did you find out? Pretty much, he's in a time loop, Groundhog Day, and
but an awful one because he keeps having to see his wife get
murdered.
Like,
yeah.
I mean, to be fair, it seems like he gets got too.
I know, but like she gets got first, and
I'm
he's
sure.
like,
I'm sure there's a few rounds when he gets got first. I'm sure there's a few.
But and it's also interesting that the assassin is a bald-headed guy in a suit, and it's like I'm sure that's going to lead to legal ramifications down the road for Hitman. It's like, yeah, you're
just
looking
like,
a Hitman
knockoff.
knockoff.
He doesn't have a
red tie. I know, but or a barcode on the back of his head. So
you zoom in close enough, it's just barely there.
Yeah. But a time loop, and I guess like it only takes, the name suggests, you have 12 minutes to figure out how to stop this or whatever.
I'd be curious to see if it's like you actually get like 12 minutes of gameplay before like it's like actually like real time, like 12 minutes.
Right.
And, like,
well, it's like that game Minute, where you only have a minute to progress through. Like it was like a small little indie game on. I think
it was like platform based.
Yeah.
Yeah. That game's hard.
I'm sure it is.
I played it as like one of the first like gaming live streams. The Nerd Cave, and I was like, oh my lord.
I feel like I remember that, but I don't remember.
Yeah.
Next one we got was Way to the Woods, out 2020. So again, this is the one I was thinking that it's with the deer. Bambi,
Oh yeah, I was like, I've seen Bambi.
The like you see this like solve puzzles, like the antlers glow up, and that type of thing. I mean, it's a little indie game, looks cool, looks different. So,
them deer eating shrooms out in the woods. Getting
Bambi, you gotta come try this.
Then you touched on it earlier. You touched it on in the beginning of the segment, but Gears 5 was shown. They did like sort of a blowout, but it's more of like just updates than it was. But it's out September 10th, which is a huge one. I mean, as you fact checked, Gears 3 came out September, but Gears 4 came out back in October. So I thought it's a lot. That's going to be their big October game, especially now with no Forza game out this year. It's you get it 4 days early with the Ultimate Edition. And of course, it's coming to Game Pass. They're doing a technical test for the Versus multiplayer in July. They're doing Horde mode, something with a Horde mode beta, I guess, in August. And then, the game's out in September. They're also introducing a new mode called Escape. Three-player co-op mode. You can play on your couch. What was also something, I missed it. What was it? You could do something challenge with your friends?
Oh, you can build maps.
Oh, so like Doom map editor.
Yeah.
So that's cool.
Yeah, it feels very, it's like Horde mode in a way, but it's like you're having to like push through this map.
And it also seems like the 3 characters you get, I don't know if they're if you're going to have a multitude of different characters to choose from, but the 3 characters they at least showcased seems like they all have different special abilities.
Yeah, and they were talking about like in the multiplayer side of things, kind of doing not completely hero based,
right?
And at least this mode will be that kind of way where you have abilities. I don't know if every mode will have it. But it definitely did liven it up more.
Right.
What did you think?
It seemed interesting, but it's not something I haven't seen before in other games.
Yeah. I mean, I'm excited. I love Gears. I'm ready. September. I'm definitely gonna get it. Only thing that was sort of like a cringe moment in the show was there was like, oh, and if you buy it within like the first week or whatever, you get a special thing. So if you get it by September 16th, you get the Terminator Dark Fate pack, and it's like, I mean, I guess that makes sense, but it's cringy.
Like the feel that I got for it is just because like I don't know when the movie's coming out, but I know that there's another Terminator movie coming out, and it just feels like it's supposed to be just like a brand deal to help promote the movie.
Yeah.
And they probably got paid.
I'm sure, and I mean, hey, like make that money, like chase your bliss. Like I don't care, but this just I don't know. It just feels that's just what it feels like to me.
Yeah. One thing that I felt from it all is like the very beginning where it's showing girl, I don't remember her name.
Kate.
Yeah.
Tripping, like having multiple personalities like going on in her head.
It's like, okay, let's see where this goes. It's like, if she's already evil, let's just put a bullet in her and be done with it.
My thing is, it's like, because I've never played like any of the Gears games. Like I've always wanted to. I just never have. But the thing is, it was like I feel like maybe the personality thing went on a little too long. So it's like I was like, and granted, I understand I was confused because I haven't played them, but it was like is she just evil, or is she like possessed? Because there was like a quick flash of like a villain over her or something. So like I don't know if that's confusion from like, oh, you got to see what happens, or confusion of just I haven't played the game yet. I don't know like what you guys got.
I think it's a little bit of both because like the villain was actually her grandmother.
Oh, okay, interesting.
Because spoiler for people who haven't finished Gears 4. You find out that she has ties to the Locust, pretty much like the Locust Queen, essentially.
So that explains the title, Bound by Blood.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So, and I wonder if they show all the different. It would be weird to do it in a Gears game, but I wonder if they're going to implement choices for certain big segments of the game that will lead to Kate either going to the Locust or staying with the Cog.
I don't know. I think they'll do it more linear, but like going off the Bound by Blood, because I forgot the title, she's also a soldier, and the group that she's been with is like another set of family, because it shows JD and Marcus, and it also shows her mother and her uncle, and then it shows Mira as well. So it's like showing all of these like ties that she has. Like it might not be like blood, but they've shed blood together.
It's like the phrase it's become blood is thicker than water, but the original phrase is the blood of the covenant is thicker than the water of the womb. So I feel it'll be a play on that, where it's like, oh, I'm bound by blood, I should be this, but then that redemption of no, this is my family now, I'm good, or something like that.
Yeah. So
still, it's interesting. I'm excited to see what comes from it.
I've never heard that.
Yeah, me either.
Like the original.
I've always heard the base, but not the.
That's the thing. Is like there's many phrases that sayings and stuff that people have used is like a lot of them have actually almost become like the opposite of what the original meaning was. But it's just because like that's just what everybody uses today. Like that's what it is. So.
But a lot to look forward to for Gears, like especially the lead up. I guess probably what it is like a lot of multiplayer, just proof of concept. It's basically like, hey, if you're iffy on the story, but you play Gears for multiplayer, we have stuff to make you buy into it before September.
Right.
Like I know a huge group of people are the multiplayer side of it.
Well, and bringing Horde back too is huge.
Yeah, and then they even said the actual story is going to be much bigger this time around, which is good.
Well, and they kind of hinted at it last year with like the more open areas that you'll go to with Gears 5. So hopefully that breeds positive stuff.
I just like if we're seeing it in July and it comes out in September, I would love to have seen some actual gameplay.
Yeah, same.
Yeah, especially like even like not even just for like all like the side additions like Horde mode, Escape, and all that stuff, but like for the actual main game, like really nothing got shown for the main game.
Right.
No, and like even the Escape stuff was all CGI. Like
it was all CGI. I think that like that because they said like they'll show some of it, but I think they're gonna try to keep that like on location like exclusive. If that makes sense. Obviously, people are gonna leak it online.
Well,
aren't the WWE people AJ Styles and
Xavier Woods and Tyler Breeze?
Right.
Yeah.
Aren't they playing it?
They're playing it. I don't know how soon after the show, but they're playing it today.
Yeah.
Okay. So we might get a glimpse there, but it was just like it felt like why aren't we seeing anything?
Yeah, it was a lot of sparkle but no substance.
Yeah.
In terms of the gameplay.
Yeah, but there was a lot of smoke and not enough fire.
They had plenty of fire on stage.
#, please be excited.
No.
No, that's essentially what they're saying.
I see. I thought you're trying to tell us no, please be excited.
No, but no, I'm still excited regardless. So I'm one of those fanboys that'll just dive in day one anyway. So regardless. So
no, like
because you're a traitor.
I think it seems exciting. I've never played it, but I know that if I were into the games, I know that I would be hyped.
Right. Then they showed off. I thought because with Gears 4. When they showed off the gameplay trailer, they immediately followed up with a special Xbox One Elite controller, right? I thought we were getting that again, but we got an Elite controller showing, but it was more of like Elite Controller Series 2, just about updated bells and whistles, like the control sticks are more responsive, or you can tighten up the responsiveness to it. Triggers, you can, have better response, because, when you flipped up the paddles or the levers, you wouldn't have to pull the triggers that far back. So improved that. You have 3 different mod profiles that you can set up on it, because, like one set of controls, and then on the original one, you can only do 2. So including 3 is good. And then they included like a rechargeable battery, and in the little carrying case, they have a little charging battery pack in there too. So
it was like a 40-hour life, something like that?
Yeah, 40-hour life. So for batteries, so
that's pretty good.
So almost as good as the basic controller that you get from PlayStation charge time because those,
with mods too.
Those things keep charges forever. I'm being facetious.
Yeah, I know you are. About to say
keep charge like 10 minutes.
I was gonna say I was like, mine don't last that long. I don't know what you're talking about.
One thing that you skipped over is if you buy this controller, you'll automatically win everything that you play. So there you go.
Oh, okay. Not bad.
Hacks with an X.
Not really.
Yeah.
Not really.
Because that's why you should spend that much
I
money.
wonder how much this will raise the price. Because when the Gears one came out, it was $200, but that was because of the special designs. Normally, the Elite controller now is $150, so I wonder if all these extra features will bring it up to $200 base price.
I think it will.
But what did it have? Did it have like a specific name, or just like Series 2? I don't remember.
Yeah, no, it'll be Elite controller Series 2. Okay. So
the LeBron James edition.
LeBron James.
LeBron James.
This year will be Kawhi Leonard apparently.
LeBron James.
But then we kind of expected to see this. They did spoil one thing for Square Enix in their conference. They did show Dying Light. Dying Light 2. You go ahead.
It says it's arrives on November 4th for $179.99. So about $100.
Oh, that's not bad. $180. I did expect a price increase, but cool.
Not all the way up to $200.
Cool.
Sorry.
You're fine. But yeah, Dying Light 2, out spring 2020. Another CG trailer. They didn't show the zombies. The last year they just showed more of like the choices you can make in Dying Light 2.
Yeah.
And like how that plays ramifications with the human faction. But they teased, it's like, oh, this is what happens at night, and they show a zombie lunging at you. Again, didn't really show anything new with the zombies that I saw.
The thing that I did see that was different is like when you were climbing up something, like one of them actually like crawling up you, like grabbing.
Okay, I guess I missed that.
So like I thought that was a cool little addition because like I remember in the original one is like as soon as you started climbing, it's like.
Yeah, the ones that were up there were the ones that get you, but that was the thing to the super zombies that came out at night, right? So they were super strong, super fast, but they couldn't climb you once you got up on a building. Yeah. So that was the easy out.
Yeah, so I like that they're adding that because it's like, okay, you've got to keep moving,
right?
And then story wise, it seems like we're getting kind of a prototype-esque thing where it's like. You're infected as well.
Right.
Yeah.
All of that.
Because the little bracelet that beeps. So I wonder if that was just... I wonder if they'll introduce like different characters you can play as, and one of them is infected, and then there's some that aren't. I wonder if they'll... Because I know one was just a central character, so I wonder with them doing more RPG elements that they'll do multiple characters that you can play as.
I don't know. I think they use it as a plot point. It's not an original plot point.
Right.
Yeah, it to me it screams like what most zombie stories do eventually get to, is that a cure of some sort.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah, it feels like that, but it could definitely make like your choices are not necessarily based off of your character's best interest, but the world around you because you're wanting to actually like help the world out or get a leg up. But like if you're going down the path of bad, it's like you're also like hurting the world. Right. Like I'm going to die anyway. What does it matter? So.
Yeah. So I'm checking one thing real quick.
Infect as many people as you can on your way up.
Yeah. The next one, chewing on my leg.
The next one was kind of a cringe thing. I mean, it's great for people who love Forza and love Lego Movie, but then they announced a new expansion. They didn't have a new Forza game, but they had something Forza because they hadn't, thinking about it now, they didn't announce the second expansion. Last time in Forza Horizon 3, they announced a Hot Wheels mashup that they were going to do. So this one, they're doing Lego Movie. It's called Lego Movie Speed Champions, and I'm checking to see if they gave a release date.
I don't remember if they did.
Stay together. So let's see, trailer June 13th. So that's literally later this week is when it's out. So good for them. If you're a fan of Lego Movie and you like racing games, perfect mashup. But it was just like meh to me.
They had a Lego car.
That was cool.
I thought it was impressive because I remember when they first showed off they lift the thing and like it's dark and all the smoke and I was like, oh, look at the fancy car. And then like it was like Legos and I was like, ooh.
Then they showed, I don't know why they didn't show this after, because last year when they showed off a bunch of these Gears games, they did them all together. So, but they showed Gears Pop, another rendition of it. It's coming to iOS and Android pre-orders coming soon. But it was just like, okay, this is cool. You should have shown this either before or after Gears 5, but okay.
That's true. They didn't show them back to back. I didn't even think about that.
Last year they did because they showed off Gears Pop and then Gear because everyone was excited, like, woo, Gears, and then it was a Pop figure, and it's like, what? And then they showed off Gears Tactics, was that PC like strategy game, which I need to see if that's out already. I haven't heard anything. But that actually looked cool. Kind of looked like Halo Wars or whatever, but more of a turn-based strategy.
I'll be down for that.
So.
Then
Then they showed, of course, I expected, State of Decay 2 expansion called Heartland. It's a new story experience. You can take 2 different paths, so 2 different stories you can choose from. Their biggest expansion yet, and it's out on Game Pass today. So
that's right.
I wonder if they'll, because they've done the more difficult zones, already. That's an update that came out like sometime last year. So I wonder if they'll implement that with the new story expansions. But more State of Decay. So if you're big into that survival aspect, have fun.
Yeah, good for you.
Then this was, again, I called this not even knowing, because I remember seeing gameplay, going over to a buddy's house, and I was seeing gameplay of it. Phantasy Star Online 2 is announced. First time, I don't want to say first time, but first time in a long time that it's come to Xbox consoles. It's out spring 2020. Action. It's going to have crossplay, and all content's going to be on that game. So
cool.
Yeah, it looks. It's one of those, like, if I had an Xbox, I'd definitely, like a newer Xbox, I'd give it a try, but I don't. So.
But it's a huge game in Japan, and I know when the first one came out, everyone was playing. Phantasy Star Online, and then Phantasy Star Universe, I think, was another one. But I remember when I went over to their house, they were always running on GameCube, which that was impressive back in the days. So
I love me some GameCube.
So good for them getting a big, Japan favorite. Like we said, like I said in the pre-show, it's like Phil Spencer has been adamant about wanting to establish a relationship with Japanese studios and showing this, and this was a big step for them.
Definitely.
Then they announced, apparently it's a big PC Legend game. Never heard of it, but then again, I don't play PC. Crossfire X, it's a shooter game. It's coming out 2020, and it's gonna one of those timed exclusives because it says first to Xbox. So that says to me, probably hit Xbox Game Preview, come out, and then when it's fully out, come to other consoles. Then it showed another Tales game, which I thought it was Code Vein, ended up being, because I saw this leak last week, was Tales of Arise or Tales of Arise, however you pronounce. I don't know how they're pronouncing it, but out 2020. If you haven't played a Tales game, very good, like action RPG type thing. But it's not turn based, but it's more like hack and slash, real time combat. So series is always cool. The last couple, there was a couple years ago, there was like a series where they were just kind of bland and okay, but then Berseria got back to that Tales form and love. So the fact that they haven't done one since Berseria, because I think it came out early 2018, and it's coming out 2 years, another one's coming out pretty much 2 years later, is going to be good for them. Get more polish, more focused on what makes those games great. Then
I was trying to see how you pronounced it, but I couldn't find that. But Berserker came out 2017.
Oh, 2017.
Yes.
Okay.
I saw that.
So 3 years. So because they were putting them out like almost yearly, and that's what got them muddled down and watered
Dynasty Warriors.
Oh, I was gonna say like Assassin's Creed. I mean, as much as I love that franchise.
Yeah.
Then we saw more Borderlands 3, and that's what I figured we would see as the character montage. We saw Amara the Siren. We saw Flack, which sort of looks like the Zero or like the little assassin character. Then we saw Maze, which is the gun specialist. And then who was the other one we saw? You pointed him out.
LeBron James.
Oh, sure.
I don't remember.
They showed Claptrap near the end.
Oh yeah. Well, I mean, they're just going to show him because he's the fan favorite. I was trying
to remember. There was one thing like they showed, and I was like, "Is that so and so?" But I can't remember. I'll have to go back and look at it again. But
they did include Lilith, like a previous Siren. So, and there is like free, with Handsome Collection coming to Game Pass today, and then they're doing like a free. I want to say it's a free update, like an extra story thing with Lilith and the Assault on the Sanctuary to kind of get you ready for Borderlands 3. But we all figured that we would see a character montage. But September 13th one's out, so that's soon. Then we saw, that got leaked. The name got leaked a few days ago, but the George R.R. Martin From Software collab game, he's writing the story from the game. Elden Ring, didn't really get much from it, but What?
It's like, never going to come out.
I know.
Yeah. Just keep pushing it back.
Well, they didn't put a date on it, so probably not.
Well, I mean, as long as he's at the helm, I guess it's safer that way.
The game will still come out before his final book.
Probably.
Yeah, he's using the game to procrastinate the book.
Yep. So, but I mean, a CG trailer couldn't really distinguish much other than it's like a medieval fantasy, kind of like the Dark Souls games. Right. Wonder if it's Hidetaka Miyazaki, the mastermind behind the Dark Souls and Bloodborne franchise, is working on it. Probably see the same sort of gameplay, but probably not. I wonder if they'll take out the difficulty. They'll have the same type of RPG progression, but maybe take out. I don't know. Because they have said that they want to go away from that style a little bit.
I could see them doing that for this specific game.
Right.
That'd be interesting to see. Yeah.
Because Dark Souls has been always more on the difficulty, never on the story. And with someone who's big on story, collaborating or writing with it, they probably wanted more of the focus to be on that.
Yeah.
Yeah, the story's got to be the main element.
Yeah.
Yeah, he came in and he was like, story. They're like, difficult. He's like, no, story.
He's like, it's difficult to
it's difficult to swallow the story. And they're just like, George, please.
Then we kind of saw like their last couple. They showed one more game, and then of course they showed off the little more tech stuff toward the end, which is what we expected. Project X Cloud, it's their little phone streaming service. Also apparently coming to consoles, is what I gathered. But it's there's a public beta that's going on, I guess, during E3 that's happening this week, and then the whole thing will be out in October.
Yeah.
I saw a little bit of it on Inside Xbox months ago. They were running Forza Horizon 4. Didn't have a close up of it, so we can't tell the graphic detail. But it was running smoothly on the phones, and all you got to do is attach an Xbox controller with it. So good for them to get more access. The last couple of years they've been about accessibility and putting stuff everywhere. So
you're saying like Bluetooth and Xbox controller, or we have to buy another hookup?
Well, the way they had it was a little attachment that held your phone, and then you would just attach it to the controller, and then it would be like Bluetooth connect to it.
Oh, okay, I see.
So I can just buy a Switch.
Sure, Zach, I guess.
I mean,
like some people are like, man, this guy's a jerk, but it's like I can buy a Switch.
But probably Project X Cloud will be cheaper. But
yeah, but is it reliable? And think of all the data that you're
that's
use.
true too.
Is it actually cheaper?
So unless you have an unlimited data plan, you're screwed. Then, of course, to everyone's chagrin,
they announced the PS5, and that they would get clobbered by it.
Yeah, so they came out in the middle of it. They were like, "Hey guys,
we admit defeat already." But no, they teased their next console, sort of like they did with Xbox One X. No surprise there. They're still calling it Project Scarlett. They have a custom design processor. Supposedly is going to be 4 times more powerful than the One X, which that's already saying something, how much power that thing already churns out. It's going to support 8K. It's going to have ray tracing, going to have 120 FPS, solid state drive. They already said holiday 2020, and apparently, and this is what they closed the show with, this is going to launch day and date, so it's going to be a launch day game with Halo Infinite. So great for them, and they kind of ended with a CG trailer for Halo Infinite.
Can you tell me about the teraflops?
No, I'm sure they mentioned it somewhere, but I missed it.
It's in the thousands.
I need to know about the teraflops, Derek.
All the flops.
All you need to
know. They don't have teraflops. They have teraflip flops.
Oh my gosh,
fashionable. With like the little jewels that look like the Infinity Stones.
That would be the Infinity Shankla.
That's good.
So
Halo Infinite,
again, CG trailer,
like it sets up that everything is crap once again, and defeated, and Chief's like,
we don't have time. We gotta fight.
Yeah, I tried to look up to see if like they had any of the casting stuff listed. The only thing they had listed was that the guy was coming back to do Master Chief again. But because granted, I mean, voice actors, they're incredible, but I swear it sounded like Laura Bailey at the end.
Yeah.
Did you check on the old ones?
Yeah, like Halo 5.
I didn't think about that.
So
yeah, because it's been the same voice actress for
it sounds just like her.
My biggest thing is like 343 has been really bad at telling a good story.
Right.
And
or at least overhyping it like they did with Halo 5.
Yeah. I just want something that is good. Halo 4 sucked. Halo 5 sucked.
Mm-hmm.
I'm hoping.
Lord Bailey.
Okay, good.
Well, there you go. Hopefully Halo Infinite, which is, I guess, the last one. Because you can't get bigger than Infinite.
Infinite times 2.
Infinity Stone.
Infinite, the next one Thanos, and then the next one
God.
reboot.
You know what I mean? Like, you can't. So it might be the last one.
Well, I don't know. Super Smash Brothers Ultimate, you wouldn't think you would think they couldn't do one, but they're probably going to do another Smash Brothers.
I know, but
so,
like, there's a point in time where you need to close a story out.
Right.
Like Gears 3 closed the story out really well. And then they brought Gears 4 and it's like, what are you doing?
You know what they're doing? They making that paper.
And then you look at, TV shows, they do it all the time. It's like, we can make money or we can have integrity with the art.
Right.
And the integrity of the art always suffers for the money. So I'm excited for it.
Mm-hmm.
But tempered excitement because it's 343. Like if they were like, and Bungie's coming back to do Halo.
Oh, that'd be insane.
I'd be like,
all right, give me.
I'll sell my kid. What do you want?
Bet.
But no, I mean, that's all I figured we'd see is a CG trailer for this year anyway. So it follows the traditional Halo formula. See a CG trailer one year, then the year it comes out, see an actual gameplay trailer.
Yeah, so I'm glad that we're going to see that as a launch game.
Yeah,
they've never been launch games. So,
no,
they've always been further into the cycle,
at least a year after.
Yeah, and so I'm curious to see how it does because it has lost a lot of its following. Like I was a huge Halo fan for a very long time, and then Halo 4 was like, and then Halo 5 was like, I didn't even finish it.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, wow.
I didn't even finish it. It was like that bad, in my opinion. Some people are like, the update. It's like, I don't care about no updates.
Yeah.
It's like, I want a good when I get it.
Yeah.
Red Dead didn't suck when I get it. God of War didn't suck when I got it. Spider-Man was dope.
Yeah.
It was like.
I still need to play that.
Yeah, you do.
I'm so far behind.
I sound angry.
I know.
But all I want is a good Halo game. That's all I want. And I want Gears not to be bad either. It's like, come on, give me something good.
But so
it's like, we're going to move on. He's getting on the soapbox.
It's like, Zach, I need you to step down for a second and you take the soapbox and throw it out the window.
It's like we're 2 shows in and he hasn't mentioned microtransactions.
please no.
Oh man.
So, but kind of surprising that we didn't see anything Cuphead related. You know, especially with that DLC. But I mean, Inside Xbox is tomorrow. I think 3 p.m. Don't know. I'm assuming 3 p.m. Pacific time. So maybe they announced something with that. No Fable announcement because that picked up steam the last month. So I'm surprised we didn't see anything from that. Yeah, that was only the 2 biggest things that stood out to me that we didn't see was either the Fable teaser or Cuphead because Cuphead's been biggest thing, but I guess with it coming to Switch, who knows? Maybe it'll show up as Switch. It's like, oh, you love Cuphead that came out to Switch, and then it's like, all right, here's the DLC for it.
I could see that, possibly.
What? I just gave Zach another prediction idea.
But no, I had it, and then you said it. I was just like,
dang it.
Well, I'm gonna have to go first on that one.
But yeah. Any other thoughts?
I think it was they played a solid game. They had some good offense, but but then at the end of the stretch, it was like they were tired and they just couldn't keep going to the basket on it, and they couldn't make conversions.
And Sony came in and just had more touchdowns.
And like Sony doesn't even have to do anything.
Literally, no, seriously, it's like half, after halftime, I think it was near the end of the third quarter. Sony literally left the stadium, went over across the street to Taco Bell.
Yeah, and they were like, "We've got so many more points." Than
Xbox, they got confused and they started fighting each other, and it was really weird. But at the same time, I feel like they all got a lot closer as a team.
Yeah. They just started buying things. It's like we can't beat them, but we can buy a lot of stuff.
But the thing that got them really got them was that at one point EA came in and said, "Hey, if you want to unlock the 4th quarter, you need to pay us $10."
We can win this game for you if you pay
Oh
us.
my gosh. Lord. And we've gone off the rails.
No, but I really do think that it was like they had such potential going into this conference, and I think they fell short. I felt like they were.
I felt like they came out with those big hits, like with Gears, with Halo, with Cyberpunk. You know, the stuff we expected them to be. But then I also think they showed some stuff that, you know, yes, we get that they wanted to show support for Game Pass on PC, but then that stuff that could have just been shown in like a montage and not have dedicated stage time to it. But there was some stuff that I cared about. I mean, it's going to be every conference that speaks to you, but I felt like a lot of that stuff could have been shown like inside Xbox or something else, you know.
Well, you even said this. If you're going to book 2 hours for a conference, fill 2 hours for the conference. And it felt like, okay, we did an hour and a half. We didn't really see any gameplay. Yeah. That's my thing is like last year we didn't really see much gameplay.
Right.
This year we didn't see much gameplay. And it's like, if you're wanting me to be invested in this ecosystem, yes, you're doing a lot of great things, but you're not making me anticipate more than just your blockbuster titles.
Yeah.
And gameplay is what sells me. And I know that's, you know, always been my thing. It's
but it's true, because it's like, you know, because you're not just saying like you said, like, oh, like, you know, proof of concept, but you're also saying what you will actually be getting. You'll actually be seeing like the product. That'd be like, you know, if Apple was like, guys, we have a new device, and guess what, like, you can like call things. It's like, can we see what it looks like? No.
Buy it.
Just buy. I mean, people still would.
Please be excited.
Yeah. Well, with, just a question. I was getting food while Ori went through. Did they actually show gameplay for it, or was it?
Yeah, no.
That one they showed gameplay.
Okay. Well, there
one of the rare instances.
Yeah. So you know, that's my biggest takeaway is like, if you want to do something, show me gameplay. And I think that's any gamer. In the end of the day, it's because like we've been burnt by CG trailers so many times. I'm looking at you, Watch Dogs. I'm looking at you. So I'm just like careful on those kind of things. My big thing
especially is that like, if your game is going to be coming out before the end of the calendar year but you don't show any gameplay for it, that makes me, I don't want to necessarily say suspicious, but definitely a little wary of what that actually entails. Yeah.
And part of it is also, I'm not trying to play devil's advocate but part of it's too is like we're in a flux year where it's like, this is especially when they came out and said, hey, Project Scarlett's coming out 2020 next year, holiday 2020. We're in that transition year where it's like, all right, we know the new consoles are coming. We have games. We're holding a lot of cards back to show off on the new tech too.
That's fair.
You know?
I made the point with like the flight simulator thing. I was surprised I didn't save that for the next console to show off just how much they can handle in terms of graphics.
Well, and they could do that with Forza though too.
That's fair.
My biggest, like, you're bringing that up and everything. It's like, don't say you're going to have the biggest conference you've ever had.
That's fair.
Oh, that's
I'll give you that.
He came out, he's like, this is like the biggest thing, and then he did the thing, and I was like, no.
It was like, but this is disappointing.
Yeah.
It's like getting a big piece of like some nice, fully prepared meal, and then it's like tastes awful.
Yeah.
It's
like you pay for a $50 steak and it tastes terrible.
Or like you pay like $50 for a meal and they come out and it's like that like quarter-sized dish and you're like, this will not fill me up as a human being.
This is market price.
Yeah.
So there we go. Anybody else last things?
I'm good. I said what I needed to say.
All right, so when does Bethesda go on?
So they're 7:30 our time, so that means our pre-show will be 7 o'clock.
Okay, so there you go.
Little about hour and 15 minutes from now.
Yep. So we'll be back for Bethesda pre-show, and we'll be kicking that off at
7 o'clock Central Time.
7 o'clock Central Time, and we'll see you back here in just a little bit. This has been Zach,
Derek,
and Allie.